It's 2 a.m. Your phone lights up. It's her again. The same woman who walked out 3 weeks ago swearing you weren't right for each other. And here you are, staring at that text, heart pounding, wondering if you're losing your mind or if this is real connection. It's neither. It's a trap. A calculated game she's been running since she realized you actually cared. She blocked you everywhere, but somehow knew you went to that concert because she's checking your location through that app you forgot about. Your friends say she's been asking about you, playing concerned ex like she didn't just shatter your peace. You see her online at 3 a.m., and she always reaches out when you finally stop checking your phone obsessively. What I'm about to reveal will connect every confusing piece. By the end, you'll understand the 8 psychological weapons she's been using and exactly how to break this cycle before it destroys you. Everything you thought you knew about her behavior is about to shatter. The breakup comes from nowhere. Sharp, unexpected, triggered by something small. Maybe she texts at midnight saying she needs space, or vanishes after you asked why she's been distant. She calls you clingy, jealous, demanding. You're confused because 2 days ago she was planning vacations. Then the silence. Days into weeks. You're analyzing every Instagram story, trying to decode if that quote about growth is aimed at you. She unfollowed you Tuesday, but Friday she's commenting on posts you're tagged in like everything's normal. And when you finally stopped refreshing her profile, when you've enjoyed one day without thinking about her, she resurfaces. She calls crying about her mistake, or casually texts about that inside joke only you shared. She acts like the breakup was just a pause, offering just enough vulnerability to make you question if you gave up too easily. You let her back because the relief overwhelms rationality. Your system floods with something resembling love, but is actually just the end of torture. And that's what she engineered. This isn't passion. This isn't a woman who can't resist the connection. This is calculated manipulation. Stay with me, because each reason gets progressively darker. And by reason 8, you'll understand why you felt addicted to someone who systematically destroys your stability. Reason 1. The power reset. Every time she leaves, something inside you breaks. Every time she returns, you're grateful enough to forget she broke it. That's not accident. That's the design. She needs you to remember she controls everything. When you start feeling secure, stop performing for approval, expect consistent treatment, that's when she yanks the foundation. The breakup isn't about her excuse. It's about recalibrating power. Remember when you felt confident, made plans without asking permission, posted a photo looking content, mentioned a female colleague casually? Like clockwork, she started a fight that night that spiraled into a breakup by morning. Behind the scenes, she tracks your emotional state constantly, your response times, social media activity, whether you're having fun without her. She waited until you showed independence, because that's when you're most susceptible to her return. Strong enough to provide attention, but not strong enough to see the pattern. The breakup proves she can exit any time. The return proves you need her more. It's a complete reset that makes you the pursuer again, working to prove worthiness while she's the prize. You shift from partner to petitioner, and she feels desired and irreplaceable all over again. Most insidious, you apologize for her leaving, you list what you'll improve, you promise less neediness, more accommodation, endless patience. She hasn't changed anything. She just reminded you both who controls this. But making you chase is surface manipulation. The next reason reveals how she's rewriting your reality itself. Reason 2, the reality distortion. Every time you accept her back, you're not just forgiving, you're accepting her narrative. And each time, you surrender another piece of your truth. Think about the last breakup. She claimed you were suffocating when you asked about midnight texts to her ex. Called you controlling when you noticed deleted conversations. Told everyone you drove her away with insecurity. Then she left, and you spent weeks questioning yourself. Maybe you were too intense. Maybe you imagined things. She reappears acting like nothing happened. No apology for calling you paranoid. No addressing suspicious messages or nights she claimed she was at her sister's, but her location showed elsewhere. Instead, love bombing. She shows up with your favorite food, sends thoughtful messages, maybe introduces you to friends she'd kept you from. Your brain floods with relief and validation so intensely you forget to demand answers. Here's the cruelty. Her friends posted about their dinner on the exact night you suspected lies, but when she returns, she's so composed, so articulate, so convinced of her version that you think maybe you really did misinterpret everything. Maybe you did see connections that didn't exist. With each cycle, your self-trust erodes. You question instincts, apologize for emotions, accept her characterization of you as unstable. Your memory blurs because her version comes with such confidence, such detail, such certainty. That's her goal. Make you uncertain, unstable, dependent on her to define reality. You're not losing your mind. Your instincts were right, but she's been training you to doubt them, replacing your reality with hers. And just when you think it can't deepen, Reason 3 exposes why your pain actually energizes her. Reason 3, the emotional feeding. Narcissistic women don't just want affection, they crave your desperation, your confusion, your 3 a.m. anxiety spirals. That emotional chaos, that's her actual addiction. When she left last time, did you reach out repeatedly? Send lengthy messages about how her absence affected you? Drive past places hoping to encounter her? Post vague social media updates transparently about her? Every reaction fed something fundamental in her psychology. Here's what nobody warns you. She saves your desperate messages. Not to mock, though that happens. Mainly to validate her significance. Your pain proves she matters, that she can devastate someone so completely they unravel. You're her evidence of importance. The breakup constructs the wound. Your reaction, emotional texts, obvious attempts to regain attention, visible deterioration, that's her reward. When your pain peaks, when you're barely functioning, that's when she returns to rescue you. She plays savior from the destroyer, being both roles. The reunion provides fresh validation. Now you're grateful, hyper-attentive, working overtime to keep her satisfied because you can't endure another abandonment. You're on psychological eggshells. She receives constant validation, constant attention, constant confirmation she's irreplaceable. She engineers the crisis and gets credit for resolving it. Flawless psychological operation. Your suffering isn't collateral damage. It's the primary objective. It's what she came for. But if you think she's content with just your turmoil, wait until you discover what she's doing while you're home heartbroken. Reason 4 reveals the disturbing reality. Reason 4, the rotation strategy. You want to know why she walks away so effortlessly. She's never actually alone. While you're replaying conversations, she's already engaging someone else. And I'm not talking friendship. During your relationship, was her phone constantly screened down? Urgent situations requiring private calls? Suddenly, this new male friend from yoga class who was just a friend, but they're meeting for smoothies weekly at times reserved for you. When she ends things, she doesn't sit alone processing. She activates standby. That coworker she insisted you were paranoid about. An ex she maintains contact with through occasional messages. Someone from apps she claimed she deleted. She invests days or weeks with them, collecting fresh attention, experiencing new validation highs. But new supply requires effort. New people ask questions you stopped asking. They maintain boundaries you've abandoned. They haven't been conditioned yet, so they don't respond how she's programmed you. They demand actual investment. You understand her moods instinctively. You've forgiven her worst treatment multiple times. You're trained to accept minimal effort as maximum love. So, when the new person requires too much energy, maintains actual standards, guess who gets the "I miss you" message? Wondering why she seems refreshed when she returns. New perspectives or references to things you never discussed? That's your answer. She's been living a parallel experience. Think that's the darkest revelation? Reason 5 shows what she's learning each time she shatters you. Reason 5, the experiment lab. Every breakup is a test. Every return evaluates results. With each cycle, she's expanding boundaries, discovering precisely how much damage she can inflict and still have you welcome her back. First breakup, maybe she needed space. You waited 2 weeks, she returned. You accepted without demanding answers. Second time, she blamed you for something you didn't do, ended via text, ignored you a month, appeared like nothing occurred. You took her back. Third time, openly flirting with someone in front of you. Complete ghosting, barely an explanation upon return. Each time you accept her after worse treatment, you're teaching her your boundaries are negotiable. Demonstrating how minimal her effort can be, how poorly she can treat you, and still maintain your availability. Remember when she ended things before your important presentation when you needed support? During your birthday? After you introduced her to family? Not coincidental timing. She was testing whether you'd return, even when she chose the cruelest moments. She's mapping your breaking point. How long can she ignore you? How disrespectfully can she behave? How little can she contribute while maintaining your attachment? You're not her partner. You're her ongoing experiment in human tolerance. And if you think these tests are random, Reason 6 reveals the calculated timeline behind every return. Reason 6, the strategic timing. You think she returns because she recognized her mistake? Wrong. She returns because you finally started recovering, and she's been monitoring it. Notice how she reached out the day after you posted about that weekend trip looking actually happy. Or before that significant event, your promotion celebration, your brother's wedding, that vacation you planned. Or exactly when you started casually seeing someone new. She's been observing, not obviously. Maybe checking social media through a secondary account. Questioning mutual friends, disguising it as casual concern, even driving past your neighborhood or appearing at locations you frequent. She waits until you're vulnerable but not broken, healed just enough to be functional, but not so much you've genuinely moved forward. Calculated strike at your weakest moment of strength. Here's the trap. Her return when you're improving makes you think your happiness attracted her back. Your success reminded her of your value. So you associate personal growth with her approval, keeping you mentally tethered to needing her validation. One man had his ex return 3 times, each immediately after he started dating someone new. First time she discovered through Instagram. Second, through a mutual friend. Third, her friend was monitoring his dating app activity. This isn't love, this is surveillance. But even understanding this, you might wonder why you can't walk away. Reason 7 explains the addiction she's created in your neurology. Reason 7, the chemical warfare. This isn't purely emotional, this is biological. She hasn't just damaged feelings, she's hijacked your brain's reward system. That's why leaving feels physically impossible. Inconsistent reinforcement creates stronger addiction than consistent positive treatment. Same mechanism as gambling. Your brain gets more excited by unpredictable rewards than guaranteed ones. That's exactly what she provides. When she returns after breaking up, your brain floods with dopamine, oxytocin, profound relief. More intense high than if she'd treated you well consistently. Pain of abandonment makes reunion feel transcendent. She's converted your relationship into an addiction cycle. That's why you can't eat when she's gone. Sleep becomes impossible. You feel physically ill seeing she's online, but not contacting you. Hands tremble when her name appears. These aren't just emotions. These are withdrawal symptoms. Every return redoses you. You receive that surge of relief, validation, temporary security. Your brain learns pain plus her return equals euphoria. Subconsciously, You associate the pain she causes with pleasure of reunion. You're literally addicted to the cycle itself. That's why you obsessively check if she's online, can't concentrate at work, cancelled plans with friends to remain available. Your brain exists in constant anticipation mode, waiting for the next hit. And now we reach the darkest reason. Number 8 reveals what she's actually preparing you for, and it's worse than everything covered. Reason 8, the ultimate control. Every time she breaks you down and you accept her back, she's not just winning that battle. She's winning the war for your entire sense of self. By the time you recognize what's happened, you won't recognize the man you used to be. First cycle, maybe you had standards, wouldn't tolerate dishonesty, disrespect, betrayal. Look at yourself now. You accept breadcrumb messages at 2 a.m. as meaningful connection. You apologize for her behavior to friends. You defend her to people begging you to leave. You've normalized treatment you swore you'd never accept. This isn't about keeping you forever. This is about having someone who will accept anything, require nothing, always remain available. You're being conditioned to be perfect supply, someone with no boundaries left to enforce, no self-worth left to protect. She's tested it. Remember when she promised to be home by a certain time, arrived 6 hours later smelling like cologne that wasn't yours, and you ended up apologizing for questioning her? When she forgot your birthday, and you convinced yourself it wasn't important. When she openly flirted at a party while you watched, and later made you feel guilty for being bothered. And notice how your support system has shrunk. Friends stopped inviting you out because you always cancel if she might need you. Family stopped asking about her because you get defensive. She's systematically isolated you until you have no outside perspective, only her version of reality. By the time you're fully conditioned, you'll tolerate virtually anything. That's exactly where she wants you, completely dependent, completely controlled, with no energy remaining to leave. So now you know all 8 reasons. But knowledge isn't enough. You need to understand what happens next if you don't break this cycle immediately. Let's be brutally honest about where this ends. She doesn't transform into the woman you deserve. The cycle doesn't magically become healthy. You know what actually happens? One day you'll look in the mirror and won't recognize who's staring back. You'll be that man who stopped believing he deserves basic respect, who schedules his existence around someone else's unpredictable availability, who has panic attacks when his phone buzzes, who has forgotten what being consistently chosen feels like, not just occasionally tolerated. And here's what nobody tells you. Even when you finally leave, because eventually you will, by choice, or because she finds fresh supply, you'll carry this damage forward. You'll doubt yourself in the next relationship. You'll flinch when someone treats you well because you're anticipating pain. You'll sabotage genuine connection because chaos feels more familiar than peace. This isn't just about her. This is about every year invested in this cycle being a year you can't reclaim. Every version of yourself you lose. Every goal you postpone because you're too emotionally exhausted to pursue anything else.